What's up, guys? Welcome back. So, we're going to be talking about, again, we're back talking about the eliminated from the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Taking a look at the teams, and there have been quite a few teams eliminated. This weekend has been absolutely insane, full of a lot of Game 7s. So you're going to see a lot of videos over the next week. Of course, I got Minnesota coming up, and then I have the Washington Capitals, and the Boston Bruins, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and now the Pittsburgh Penguins just got eliminated. And right now, as I'm filming, this Game 7 between Calgary and Dallas is going on. But let's talk about the Wild. So they came into this year with pretty high expectations, and they had a lot to live up to. So the big moves this offseason, they bought out the remaining contracts on Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. They bought out the remainder of the contracts. And unfortunately, though, that has to do with a lot of recapture penalties and dead hit. And that dead hit is going to really bear on this team in the coming summer. Not to mention they have a lot of UFAs coming up that they're going to have to re-sign. Their goaltending situation, they have to reevaluate that. They made a move for Marc-Andre Fleury late in the season. So, talent-wise, it's like I said with Nashville. Talent-wise, Minnesota's got plenty. Of course, Kirill Kaprizov is their star. The dude's been fantastic. He is the new, probably, face of their franchise, and he is deadly. Watching him play it's a pleasure watching him play. But also, I must admit that with that the Wild, while they have a lot of top-end talent, they seem to be lacking in real structure. The playoffs reward teams with depth and structure, and I don't know if the Wild quite have that. To me, when I look at the Minnesota Wild, I see a team that has the talent to win a series if a few things go their way. Like, the other team has got to probably have a problem or two on defense. Their goaltending has to be incredible. Like either Marc-Andre Fleury or Cam Talbot will have to play balls out to win a series. And I thought Fleury was alright with Minnesota, including the regular season stint he had into the playoffs. I thought he was alright, but he faltered way too many times. They broke Ville Husso in the first, in games 2 and 3. Flat out broke him after we shut him out in game 1. And then they go to Jordan Binnington and they can't solve Binnington. I look at the Wild and I see a team that really is lacking real cohesion beyond the top 6. And even the second, third, and fourth lines aren't exactly anything fantastic. They don't have the depth of say Florida or Tampa Bay or Colorado or hell, St. Louis, who just beat them, or Carolina or New York. They don't have that depth scoring, and a big problem of that is, if they'd had a talent like Kaprizov and some of the talent that they have now back in the early times when, like, say, the second or third year when they had signed Parise and Suter, maybe this team can actually go on a deep run because they were able to pull off series upsets. Trust me, as an Avalanche fan, I'm still having nightmares about the 2014 playoffs. Fucking need a writer. So you have all that, but at the same time, they couldn't beat the top end team. They couldn't beat Chicago, who was constantly, at the top, had their foot on the West for a real long time. They never really had that young talent that they could accrue, and they didn't have the draft picks to go get it. So it really does feel like now the Wild, the timeline's all messed up. Now they have the young talent from some of the drafting that they got, and Kirill Kaprizov being the main production of that, but now they're lacking that veteran depth. And now with that cap hit coming their way and a lot of free agents to sign and that cap crunch coming under, thank God they signed Kaprizov when they did, because if not, this could be getting ugly. Will the Wild suffer such a bad production drop that they miss the playoffs? No. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but it really did feel like this year was really a big shot for them. Of course, it was never going to be easy. You had to go through St. Louis, who always knows how to play it tough. And then after that, you'd have to play Colorado. And even if you get past Colorado, you have probably a really tough opponent waiting for you on the other side. It could have been Calgary or Edmonton, who now looks like they could maybe even be a threat if Mike Smith can keep up this form. And then you go from the East, you're facing probably one of the juggernauts. You're probably going to face a Tampa Bay or Carolina or Florida or New York. It's not an easy path. There is no such thing as an easy path to the Stanley Cup. Every single team has to go through their own peaks and valleys. You're going to lose some games you want back, and you are going to have your heart broken more than a few times. But As long as you have the grit to get through, you'll be fine. If I were to ask Wild fans right now, what would you fix? What would you change? Is it coaching? Maybe you need to add stuff into the bottom six. Maybe the defense needs some tweaking. I think it's personally all of the above. Not saying I would fire the coach. I wouldn't. But it does definitely feel like this team had a real shot to be something, and they underachieved. That's honestly all I can say. The Wild have talent. It's there. They caught young players. But now they could lose guys like Kevin Fiala. They could lose them in this upcoming free agent cycle because of those cap hits. And now it's a question of look at the prospects. Is the farm system strong enough? Are they going to be able to replenish their depth? And will those guys make an immediate impact? And, of course, do you bring back Marc-Andre Fleury? What if he retires? He could be done. Well, that's some questions to answer. And I, even as a fan of a rival, as a Colorado Avalanche fan, I hope the Wild can answer them. Because to me, the West is better when Minnesota is really, really good. When Minnesota is good, the West is better, and hockey is better. Believe me, I was actually kind of looking forward to playing Minnesota in the second round, you know? A great blood rival between Colorado and Minnesota. I thought it was going to be a banger of a series. Not saying St. Louis won't be. St. Louis has definitely earned the right to move on. It just feels like the Wild should have been more. And they're not. What do they do this summer? I don't know. To me, they're in a similar kind of situation as like Pittsburgh and Toronto. What do you do? You can make moves. You've got talent. But right now it's not enough. But unfortunately, unlike Toronto and Pittsburgh, at least Toronto and Pittsburgh, they have something they can use. They have pieces they can probably mess around with and play with. For Minnesota, what's your key trade piece? Talbot? Is that going to be your big piece? You're not moving Kaprizov. Is there anybody on your team you would consider an elite trade piece to get another elite piece back? Or at least a substantial depth piece? Like when Colorado traded for Nazem Kadri. What would you do in there? Do you have a piece that you could make a move for a guy like that? Maybe they sign Nazem Kadri if they can afford him with the year that he had? Minnesota, got a lot of questions to answer this offseason. It's not going to be pretty. I keep saying it, you've got enough to make it in, but I don't think they have enough. I don't think they're built for a deep run. So that's a big question this year. What the hell do you do? Anyways, that's it for me. Not quite as long as the Nashville one, but it's just kind of the state that the Wild are in right now. We'll see what they can do. I got the Capitals coming up in the next day or so. That team is going to be a little interesting to talk about. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's it for me. Be sure to stay tuned. I got the Capitals coming up next. Then we'll touch on Boston and Toronto. That's it for me. See you guys later.